Well, new information today about a controversial new marketing practice, and here's how it works. It starts with data collecting firms compiling vast amounts of personal information about you, literally billions of data points. Those firms then turn around and sell that information to advertisers who use it to tailor ads specifically aimed at you. The Federal Trade Commission is voicing its concerns in a brand new report on this, calling for more transparency for consumers and raising this question as well. Is all this collection legal? Judge Napolitano is a Fox News senior judicial analyst and the right person to ask about that. Is it, Judge?
Well, as long as the people that are advertising to you are gathering information about you from public sources, yes, it's legal.
What are public sources in this case?
Well, public sources in this case would be efforts that you made to look at a product online, and then the company with which you communicated selling your email address to these entities. So let's say you're looking for, forgive me, maternity clothes.
I mean, you can use it as an example, Judge.
Okay.
It's actually a reality.
All right, Mama. You're looking for maternity clothes, and one day in the midst of your hectic work, you just start to Google maternity clothes. The next thing you know, every time you go online, boom, there are ads for maternity clothes. How did they get there?
Well, you're just describing a real scenario for me, because we have a wardrobe department here at Fox, and for the first time ever, we're exchanging...
They're the clothes police.
They're the clothes police. We're exchanging emails about maternity clothes.
Right.
And so I may open a link, take a look at what they're saying, might look good on the air, and now every time I open up a major newspaper online, the ads are all maternity ads, and I really noticed that now.
How did that stuff end up on your screen whenever you start the email? You could be emailing me about this, and on the side of your email to me is going to be an ad for maternity clothes.
But isn't our email private?
Well, yes and no. If you Google a company that sells maternity clothes, they will sell the fact that you Googled them and your email address to a company that collects that and in turn markets it. Is there a way to stop this? Well, it would require legislation to stop it.
What do you think about that? Because the lobbyists that are working on behalf of these data collectors say that the potential for harm does not elicit the need for new legislation. If there actually is harm, if someone actually feels that their privacy has been violated, that's a different story. But the potential is not enough for new legislation.
Well, I'll tell you what I like, and I rarely like this, but in this instance I do. It's a decision by the highest court in Europe. Usually there are a bunch of socialists that are just giving the government more power at the price of individual freedom. But last week they had a very interesting ruling saying you have the right to disappear. You have the right to disappear from the internet. You have the right to erase your footprint from the internet, which of course will stop all these ads from coming to you.
So you're
now, we don't have that right in this country, but our cousins in Europe
do.
But
it's an interesting private market solution potentially, that we could see private data brokers that we could hire to make sure that our private information is not out there.
And all that can be done without the government.
What do you think true transparency really looks like in this day and age legally? Because that's what the FTC says they're concerned about for consumers, that we don't realize that these data collectors might know more about us than our families.
I'm afraid of what true transparency looks like, because the biggest spy of all is the federal government that now wants to regulate this. And the federal government listens to our phone calls and captures our emails and our telephone bills and our doctor bills and lawyer bills and all that kind of stuff.
What is private now, Judge? You mentioned that there's public sources.
Very little. Very little. If you had asked me that question 40 years ago, the law would have been if you have an expectation of privacy, if you expect it to be private, if it's rational that you expect it to be private, it's private. Not any longer. There's very little privacy left in our society, and the leading assaulter on privacy is our own federal government. Our own popularly elected government has done this to us, and now industry, to bring us back to where we started this conversation, has picked up on that.
Do you think it's too much to put it all back in the bottle, so to say?
I do think it can be put back in the bottle if there's the will to do so.
And does that mean more laws? Is bureaucracy, more legislation the answer here?
It means more restraint on government and more freedom for consumers.
So is that philosophical rather than legislative?
It is philosophical. But if there's a market for you and me to find a company to go out there and erase our footprint from the internet, that company should exist and survive and thrive and get rich.
You want to go? Maybe we could talk later. We could start. I think that sounds like a great idea.
What would we name this company?
We'll ask our viewers that. I'm sure your Twitter followers will have a lot of ideas for you, Judge. All right, Judge, great to talk to you as always.
Pleasure, Janet. It always is.